Numbers for Trubisky right there. Again, 10 for 21, 125 yards. It's not good enough. However, Carson Wentz, 26 of 39 for 239 and a touchdown.
That's fake this and that. We all know that Trubisky has been a miserable, he's a bust. I mean, come on, it is what it is. But don't sleep on the fact that Pace will double down, thinking that he's miraculously going to, take the juice next year and play great, and that he's going to hedge his bets and sign him before the year starts and not let him play out his rookie contract. That's what you got to worry about.
If they sign Mitchell Trubisky to a contract extension, that would be a riot in the city. I'm
just telling you, don't be shocked.
I've got it up to my eyebrows with this Nagy. And the other kid who we got, Herky Jerky, by the way, and that's the name of the quarterback. Just watch him play football, folks. He is not a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Never has, and he never will be.
Fight and the offense clicking at the same time, then you got something, because the Bears offense right now struggling in a big way, producing a total of 164 yards of offense, only 10 first downs. Their fewest so far under any game with Matt Nagy as coach. They only possessed the ball for 19 minutes in 42 seconds in today's loss, the Bears' worst time of possession in a game in a decade.
So you go macro, and I think we all know this about Trubisky being drafted ahead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. And you go micro, and you talk about last week with the Bears not trying to even get an extra yard in that failed field goal attempt against the Chargers. So that's kind of the gamut. Yeah. He didn't look good again today. 9 yards in the first half for the offense. Where do you stand on Trubisky right now?
I think he's a guy that's completely lost his confidence. And that's a scary thing, because it doesn't matter the play that's drawn up. It's a little bit like the second baseman that can't throw the ball to first base. You're like, wait a second.
Does Matt Nagy go back to his quarterback, stick with his quarterback, and as a result potentially lose the team? Or does he sit his quarterback, lose his quarterback, and potentially save his team and keep his team? Well, we all saw the answer, and ultimately, as is so often the case here in 2019, Matt Nagy rolled snake eyes. He wrong. Now, when you look at this game, this was a three-phases loss. It is easy to just blame Mitch, because he sucks. He didn't even complete 50% of his passes in this game. He was god-awful. What was he in the first half? Like 4 or 7 or 4 or whatever the fuck for 12 damn yards? This dude was the number 2 overall pick in the 2017 draft. And he somehow is worse now than he was as a rookie under Donald Hawkins and John Fox.
I've seen you do it. You can do it. I just think he's a guy that has held on to the ball. Like when he struggled and would miss a throw, then we'd see him hold on to the football like he was afraid to just cut it loose. He doesn't look comfortable, and I know he's playing, with a banged up, left shoulder and all of that, but it's one of these scary things, because it's not about X's and O's at this point for him. It's really about where is he mentally feeling like he can deliver, and that's something that's hard to hide from your football team, and I think it's probably the hardest thing to overcome. Guys can overcome bad decisions because you learn from a mistake. But when it's something beyond that, like it's your confidence, it's nearly impossible to play through that.
And you know that, speaking QB to QB, a team that may have lost confidence in their quarterback, the Titans, how much confidence?
My God, what does it take for you to wake up? We have Trubisky up until last week. I think, what was it, one game or two games? Trubisky was 8 for 8 completions behind the line of scrimmage. And then he was 3 of 6 for less than 5 yards. And this is an NFL offense. This is Matt Nagy, who's supposed to be a genius, whom that idiot we got for a general manager brought over here. It's enough is enough. You see it right in front of you. You tell me this is game planning in the year 2019 for the Chicago Bears. We got a defense that can, yes, win you a Super Bowl. It can. Have we been playing great this year? Not all that great, but damn good enough to win. And our offense, again, we're not going forward. We're regressing. My God, where's the running game? Where's the passing game? Where is the philosophy? Where is the understanding on offense that you have to score points? Last week, was it 16 times we were in the red zone and not one time we had a receiver go in the end zone and Trubisky threw it about 7 yards over his head. Not one time do we put a receiver in the end zone to try to score a touchdown, and that would be 6 points. Folks, that's unacceptable. That is beyond unacceptable. And it's week after week after week, and you sit here and you try to find what are the good things that we could find, can we say? It's all negative stuff.
My favorite part of the fumble, by the way, in the fourth quarter when Trubisky turned it over was him picking up his hand warmer on the ground. What is it, 55 degrees over at Soldier Field today? What? And he's sitting there like
55, 60, yeah.
I don't get it.
Why does he even have a hand warmer?
Why does he have a hand warmer?
Guys, I talked about this on Cochran's show Friday morning. You know, here the coaches are wearing monsters of the Midway sweatshirts, and your so-called, titular leader is out there with a hand warmer, and it's 60 degrees. Trust me, nothing screams phony punk more than a quarterback with a hand warmer. Jesus.
I have a question for our callers and for you, Mark. Let the caller. Well, let's go to the callers. Let them. I have a question. If it's a tough game in Philadelphia at halftime, do you make the change at quarterback? Do you bring Chase Daniel in?
Yes.
I don't think they will, but I would have done it.
Can't.
I'd love to hear it from our listeners.
Yeah. But here's the deal. The answer is yes, they should. But the arena boy ain't going to do it because he'll get spanked by Daddy Pace because, they've got their golden child, Trubisky, they've got to prop up.
Before we go, these two guys will get fired, Pace and Nagy. And I'll tell you what, Nagy will never be a coach again in the National Football League or an offensive coordinator.
A lot of things went right last year. To me, the biggest stunner for this season is that Mitchell Trubisky has straight gone backwards. He ended the year, at least in my mind, last year on an uptick. He played great in the fourth quarter against the Eagles. He put them in position to win. They missed the kick. I thought that Trubisky was going to get better. I still thought he was the biggest problem. I thought he'd be the 22nd best quarterback in the NFL, and you needed to be number 15. But he's been number 35. And he's been hurt. And I think the Bears would be better with Chase Daniel. People don't want to hear that, but the dude knows the offense better. Would they be a playoff team with Chase Daniel? I don't know. The other thing is that the defense has regressed.
It's overreaction Monday. Take that as you will. As I say this, Mitchell Trubisky is a bust. Ryan.
This is not an overreaction. I know people are going to be like, it's too early. Mitchell Trubisky right now is on the Marcus Mariota train. He's heading in that direction. He had a good year, too, as Marcus Mariota did in 2016. And now you see him, he is regressing. Last year, we saw some improvement because we saw him use his athleticism. He was getting outside the pocket, having some big rushing games. This year was supposed to be the year we watched him push the ball down the field. We saw increased progress in his accuracy, and we haven't seen those things. And when you watch this team play, he is playing the quarterback position so badly right now that he's making an all-time great defense look bad. And so if you're Matt Nagy and you're trying to figure out where to go with this team, I don't necessarily think the choice to move on from Jordan Howard and go into a more spread out offense where Mitchell Trubisky was the focus of that was the right decision, because we're seeing this team take a step back offensively when they were supposed to contend for not only the NFC North championship, but a Super Bowl championship.
Yeah, it hadn't been pretty.
So I'll say overreaction. I think, looking at this past week, guys playing with a shoulder harness on, you rarely see a quarterback playing with a shoulder harness on. He's, playing a really good defense. And I think saying that he's a bust is premature for me. Ryan is right in terms of the track that he's on, based on what we've seen from other quarterbacks that have picked really high and are just kind of up and down and riding the roller coaster of playing. Now, remember, he's a one-year starter in college. And so I do think that there is potential that he improves. The challenge for him is that the two guys drafted after him have already proved to the rest of the league that they're really good players. And one of them as good as anybody that maybe we've seen come into the league and play the position in Patrick Mahomes. So I think I know enough already that I don't believe that he's going to be either of those two guys.
And the other, of course.
Now, that doesn't mean I don't think that he could end up being a starting quarterback, but it's not looking good now. And I think the thing that probably alarms me the most about it is that he looks like a guy that has lost his confidence. He's getting booed in his own stadium. And the mental toughness that it takes for a quarterback to pull yourself out of that, not everyone has it. I've seen it cripple good players, and that would be the fear if I'm a Bears fan for that quarterback.
It's not an it is an overreaction. It is an overreaction because it's only year 3. Last year, he completed 66.5% of his passes. He doubled his touchdown to interception rate. He ran for 421 yards, which you mentioned. They were 12-4, and they were a missed kick away from advancing in the playoffs, if you remember the Cody Parker kick. So I think it's too early to certainly call him a bust. But the bigger issue is what you mentioned, and we talked about this before the show. It's Deshaun Watson, who could have been taken, and he was the other guy that would have been considered there. At the time, only a few people were on Patrick Mahomes. But their careers are going to make Mitch Trubisky look like you still made the wrong pick, no matter how well.
Look, when the Chiefs played the Texans, they called it the picked after Mitch Bowl. That doesn't help. That doesn't help anybody.
The other part of it is too is when you look at this team. When you look at this team, the head coach, the defense, this team is set up to win now, and so. Along with being compared to the 10th pick of that draft, Patrick Mahomes, the 12th pick, Deshaun Watson, you'll also look at this team and say, what if we had those guys right now? You feel like if you had Deshaun Watson or you had Patrick Mahomes, you are contending for a Super Bowl. And so though he may not be a bust when you look at what his career ends up being, he may be a guy that starts 8, 9, 10 years at the quarterback position because we've seen good quarterbacks, average quarterbacks do that. But if those other two guys continue on the trajectory they're on and they become all-time greats, which it looks like they will, then you'll forever have made the wrong pick, and it'll always make this pick look a little bit worse than his actual play made.
This is now Matt Nagy's biggest challenge because he came from the Andy Reid staff and was there when Patrick Mahomes was a rookie, and we didn't get to see Patrick Mahomes, but he got to see him in practice. And I think that for Matt Nagy, he's got to do something that Andy Reid's been criticized for, which is we got to slow this game down. We got to run the football. David Montgomery was drafted for that reason. He hasn't been a factor, so something's off. And I know they have some offensive line injuries, but Matt Nagy's going to have to pull it back and play a little bit more conservative football.
But the thing Andy Reid has done throughout his career, probably better than anybody that's ever coached in the NFL, is get really good quarterback play out of a bunch of
he went 5-1 when he went 5-1 with Donovan McNabb out one year.
To Mort's point, though, the Bears rushed the ball just 7 times yesterday. Matt Nagy was asked about that when he spoke with the media today. And this from our reporter, Jeff Dickerson, who said that Nagy said, I know we have to run the ball more. I'm not an idiot. So there you go, Mort.
Did they ask him? Did they say, hey, are you an idiot?
I have been called an idiot. I have been called an idiot.
Dave asks, if Mitchell Trubisky keeps sucking, what should the Bears do in the offseason? Admit their mistake, say, oh shit, we don't have a quarterback still, and then figure out what they need to do to go find one. The worst thing they could do is to sit there and say, well, we still got him under a rookie contract for 1 more year, and if we pick up his 5th-year option, 2 more years, so let's give him another chance and see what he's got, and let's try and make it to where we don't look as bad. All you do, if you get through this year and you have any thoughts or feelings that Mitch isn't the guy, then Mitch isn't the guy. He's not going to show you anything more in the next season or 2 that's going to change any of that. In fact, it's only going to get worse. So they have to go get a quarterback, whether that's a veteran or whether that's drafting one, probably a combination of both. You cannot submarine this organization for the next few years by stubbornly clinging on to the pathetic hopes and aspirations that Trubisky's going to do anything other than suck as an NFL quarterback. Space Godzilla. Is Mitchell Trubisky the worst Bears quarterback bust of all time? No, that is Cade McNown, and that's not close. Trubisky sucks, but he's not Cade McNown bust, drafted in the 1st round in '99, sleeping around with fucking Tim Couch's girl, sitting there and doing all types of dumb crap and then getting cut before his third season even started. At least Trubisky was the starting quarterback last year and helped lead the Bears to the playoffs. K. McDown is by far the worst quarterback bust in Bears history. So the Chicago Bears, who were once 3-1, have now lost 4 games in a row. How much more must you see, Nagy, out of Trubisky to realize he ain't that dude, and he's not your dude? And that doesn't mean that Chase Daniel is a whole lot better, I'll grant you that. But at some point in time, you're going to lose that entire team, that freaking locker room, if you allow your quarterback, your fifth-rate quarterback, to continue to go out there and stink to join up. Why in the hell would anybody else feel the pressure or need to perform at a high level? Because if the quarterback, the guy at the most important position on the field, can't play worth a crap, and yet you continue to keep him in, why would anybody else be bothered to care? 3-5.
This guy will not throw the ball down the field. Well, I guess, obviously, he must believe Trubisky can't do that. And if that's the fact, then what the hell is he doing at a starting quarterback on the Chicago Bears?
But
what about the callers?
Well, to your point, Obi, I was thinking along those lines. Let's get Tom and Edgebrook on 720 WGN. Go ahead, Tom.
How are you guys?
Okay.
I got a question. So who bears most responsibility? Pace, who's supposed to evaluate talent, Nagy, who's supposed to develop it, or the players who are supposed to possess it? What about Pace? We already know what he passed up. And in addition, why should Bear fans be patient for another wasted season? We've only won 1 Super Bowl in over 50 years. And we're going to have another wasted season where we're going to develop the talent. Maybe Trubisky's doing as best as he can. Maybe he just doesn't have the talent and he was misevaluated. I'll hang up and just listen to what you got to say.
All right.
Tom, that was a great call.
It was.
That was a great call, Tom. Thank you.
I mean,
well, here's the bottom line. You know, think about this. The best players on our team, what are they? Well, Khalil Mack's the best player. Well, we didn't draft him. We traded for him. Akeem Hicks.
I think he's the best player on the team.
Well, either
Personal
way.
choice, that's all.
Okay, Danny Trevathan. He was drafted by the Broncos. Mukamara was their best corner today. He was a giant pick. Where are our first rounders? Now, everybody's sick of hearing about the Super Bowl of 85. But think about this. There was 9 first-round draft picks that started. And I don't know what, Peyton was a first-round pick. I was a first-round pick. And Singletary is a number 2. Richard Dent was a 7. They were drafted by the Bears. Those are the 4 Hall of Famers. So, and then Jimbo Covert should be a Hall of Famer. He was in May. I'm just saying, Keith Van Horn played 15 years, started every game. I'm just saying, you have to hit on your ones. Let's look at Pace's ones. Kevin White out of the league. Roquan Smith going backwards. Leonard Floyd was, you said it best, he would be okay if he was a 3rd-round pick, but he's nobody's all-star. And the other one is, you know who, the hand warmer that is rated the 35th best quarterback in all of football. That means he's behind 3 or 4 bench warmers that got some playing time. So you tell me.
Okay, and Pace, what's burned in his forehead is that those passing on those 2 quarterbacks and him waiting and giving away almost an entire 3rd draft to move up 1 to draft this kid. That's on Pace's head, and he will never be a general manager again. And this guy, Nagy, we got, will never be a head coach again. Write it down. Mark my words on it.
The problem is that the Bears have to admit their mistake. They got to move on. And
if you don't, and I tell you what, if he goes out there, I'm talking about Trubisky, Mark. If he goes out there and plays another game like he basically plays, this town is going to turn against this guy so bad you're not going to believe it. Because you know what? We haven't won the world championship here in 34 years since the great 85 team. Enough is enough. And you can't see it, that you have a quarterback that can't throw the damn football?